As we go into our anchor step, okay, we're going to be talking about a stationary anchor for West Coast Swing. Whether you do West Coast Swing or not, this is just a great drill to know. And if you want to do West Coast Swing one day, you are going to be 10 steps ahead of everybody else if you learn these 3 variations to an anchor. Your first one is your stationary anchor. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our weight on our right foot, and we're just going to go ahead and march on the spot with our left foot slightly behind and slightly turned out. Okay, so again, weights on the right foot. We'll drop our left foot back. I like to just drop it inside edge, remember, and I like to start it way up here on the tip of the inside edge of my toe. Why? Because I have more contrast in my legs that way. If I start it like this, I don't have as much contrast, right? So up high, quick, slow. And we're going to talk about that slow because as you can see, I'm not popping this knee back out on my slow, right? There's a reason for that. So as we do this again, go ahead and put your left foot in front, weights on the right. We're going to go ahead and drop this foot back, pull it back, inside edge. If you notice how my leg slightly goes to the inside edge, that closes our knee, right? If we were to turn our foot back and not think about closing our knee, it would look like this. That's not parroting. We want it to be nice and feminine, so turn this over to the inside as you pull this back, and then we'll go quick, dancing through neutral still, slow. So when we're in this position right here, you can see that as I do my anchor step, I go ahead and I put my foot back here just like in a really close marching position. But as I did my last slow, I wanted to open up my base a little bit. So if I relax my right side and go ahead and roll to the inside of that leg and go ahead and when I put my weight down onto my slow, now I have a little bit of a wider base, which is nice because then you can actually see the settling in my hip. So when I go quick, slow, and I leave this leg straight, what we want to do on slows is we want to use movement to eat up time, right? So when we use that movement to eat up time, this is what I'm talking about. So when we go quick, slow, if you let your right hip go ahead and settle to the outside, if you push that hip out and you leave this leg straight, it automatically pulls a little bit, right? You see that? See how my hips basically pulling my foot? It's just because they're attached to one another, right? So what happens is as soon as this foot starts to move, and I mean it can only move like 1/4 of an inch, and that is a natural action. That's one part of your body moving another part of your body, just naturally, just because that's the way that we're made. So after that happens, then you can roll that foot over to the inside edge, collect underneath you before we go to step out on our one. So that way, we have movement that entire time. Let me show you the difference. If we go quick, slow, now we have no more action between that last slow and the next step to take us into our first walk like in West Coast Swing. So if we go quick, slow, 1. There is time between the last step of your anchor and the first step of the next pattern. There's time. So what we need to do is we need to have movement to eat up that time. So if you do this, quick, slow, and you settle, and then let that pull, and then develop that leg, and we're talking about that long in the scheme of things, but it'll make a big difference in the way that your anchor looks if you try as your left heel hits the floor, your right leg is still straight, then it can develop. Okay, so we're not going to go quick, and as we transfer weight, switch them, right? Like one leg straight, one leg bent, like our drills. This is an exception to the rule. Right here, we're going to go ahead and have 2 straight legs just for a moment, and then we're going to go ahead and relax that and step out. Okay, so that is your stationary anchor. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take it into our workaround anchor. A workaround anchor is an anchor that you'll do when you're facing away from your partner on 4. So there's lots of move, a sugar tuck, a right side spinning pass, a Dallas side pass, an outside whip, behind the back whip. There's lots of moves where you find your partner and you establish your anchor with your partner behind you. Well, there's a certain kind of anchor that we do with that. I call it a workaround anchor, whether it's the technical name or not sure. This is just how, it's what I do, so that's what I call it. If you put your weight on your right foot, what we do, if this is our balance beam shooting straight out of our right foot, we're going to go ahead and swing our leg between these 2 steps. Let's call this 4. of a 6 count pattern. Okay, so let's just say I did a left side underarm turn. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here I am on the 4. I'm going to swing this leg between the 4 and the 5, and then I'm going to switch. 5 and 6. Yes, and then that hip settling is going to cause this natural action. Then I'll bend my leg and take it through. Again, this is the 4. Swing the leg between the 4 and the 5. 5. Develop this all the way, and 6. Now, one of the most important parts of a workaround anchor is that you're sure not to move back towards your partner. So if we go 5, we don't want to go and moving back towards our partner and then settling back away 6. We don't want that bumper car action going on. So what we want to do is we want to stay at the end of that rope. So we're going to go 4, 5, and as we transfer weight, we're going to go ahead and put this foot down, but it's going to be on the heel of our right foot, and 6. Okay, remember that leg stays straight just for a moment, and then we step out. I'll do that facing you. This is 4. Remember, this is our workaround anchor, so we're pretty much on our balance beam, except 6 might go off just a tiny bit of our balance beam. Swing the leg, and remember, wherever your right leg, your right foot is facing, that establishes your balance beam. So if my right foot was facing this way, that would establish my balance beam, and I want my left foot to swing right on that balance beam. So if I'm straight on, you're going to see my thighs are closed. I swing that leg. If anything, you can get a little bit of rotation out of it this way because it's going to make that look bigger. All right? So here's our 4. Swing the leg. 5. Heel down, and 6. 1. Right? So away from you. Away from you is going to look like this. Here's our 4. We're going to swing the leg. 5 and 6. 1. Okay, that's your workaround anchor. Runaround anchor is exactly the same technique, only what we need to do is we need to prepare ourselves for a little more movement. So on a workaround anchor, you can see when I'm on my balance beam, I pretty much stay on my balance beam. That's 6, maybe my toes fall off the balance beam on 6. Now when I do my runaround anchor, I want to set myself up for taking up a little more space. So I'm going to set myself up diagonal. So if I was doing a left side underarm turn, I would go 1, 2, 3, and 4 this direction. Now I would swing that leg on my balance beam. I wouldn't anticipate the rotation and take it over here. I don't want space to be between my legs. Straight forward. Now I'm going to switch. 5. Now I'm going to take this through a little bit farther and let it carry. And 6. So ultimately I end up in the same place that I was before, but now I just have a little more movement. This is called a runaround anchor is what I call it. Same exact technique. I'll do it again. 4, 5, and 6. Yes, again. 4, 5, and 6. Okay? So I'm going to actually demonstrate some rotating triples here in just a second. So I'll be right back with that.